The first thing we'll start with in terms of writing the steps for rounding in words is what digit do we look at? So I'm going to say that we will look to the right. We'll look to the digit directly to the right of the place value you're rounding to, whatever that is. So that means if you're rounding to the hundreds place, you would look to the right of that to the tens place. If you're rounding to the 10,000s place, you would look directly to the right of that to the thousands place. It might be good to keep in mind that some students struggle with left and right, so you could also maybe rephrase that and say the digit directly after the one we're rounding to. So if we're rounding to the tens place, the digit directly after that would be the ones place. And then we would look at that and we're going to say if it is 5 or higher, you don't want to say larger than 5 because we want to include 5. And then this is where a lot of people say you round up, but keep in mind that students that have never rounded before don't know what you mean when you say round up. What do we mean? We mean that we are going to add 1, right? What are we adding 1 to? We're adding 1 to the digit in the place value we're rounding to. So for instance, if I'm rounding to the nearest 10, I would look at the digit behind that or to the right of that, which is the ones place. If the digit in the ones place is 5 or higher, then I'm going to add 1 to the tens place, right? To the actual one we're rounding to. So, and then what if it's not 5 or higher? So you could say if it's not, or maybe a better way would be to say if it's 4 or less. Then we round down, but be careful. What does it mean when we say round down? That means we're going to keep the number the same. So let's say we're rounding to the nearest 1,000. We would look at what's in the hundreds place. If that number is 4 or less, then we're going to keep the digit in the thousands place the same. And then this is the part that everyone knows to do it, but a lot of times when they're explaining the rules for this or telling a student what to do, this is the part we forget to say. So you're not just changing that digit, you're also changing everything past that, right? So every digit to the right of the one we're rounding to becomes a 0. And I've heard people say everything else becomes a 0. Well, what do you mean by everything else? Not everything else, right? Just the things behind that digit we're rounding to, or the things to the right of it.